Boom. All right, what's going on, you guys? It's Royce Jacob. Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to Sunday Stock Watch, series I post on Sundays where I let you guys know what stocks I'm personally keeping an eye on going into the trading week. You guys, today we are going to be focusing on some of the usual faces. Bitcoin is closing out the weekend on an extremely strong foot, which of course makes me very, very optimistic on the crypto related equity sector as we head into the trading week. So we will of course talk price action there, very exciting price action at that, but I do also want to go over a few short articles with you guys covering the fundamentals, covering the macroeconomic landscape as we head into the trading week. Because again, you guys, even if you are tunnel vision, even if you're super bullish on one sector, and as many of you know, that's been me in regard to the cryptocurrency sector for a while now, it's still very, very important to have at least a general understanding of what's going on in the macro, because ultimately the financial markets are one big ecosystem. So it's important to have your finger on the pulse of what's going on in the macro, because that will ultimately benefit you as a trader if you're focusing on specific sectors like crypto in this scenario. Okay, so super excited to dive into all the plays we're going to be talking about today. Let's get into it. As always, we'll quickly go over each topic we're going to be discussing, and then we'll dive into each one individually. In front of us, you guys know the drill. Trading View, where we will cover the following names today in this order, going down the watch list. Kicking it off, of course, with the king, Bitcoin. So Bitcoin, again, you guys, that's the beauty of 24/7 markets. It's a good preface for what will likely go down in the equity markets, especially if you're talking about the crypto-related equity sector like we are today. So we'll kick it off with Bitcoin, currently sitting at just about $52,000, bouncing perfectly to a T off the line of support, off the overall line of support, which we've been expecting for the past week or so now. Left the arrow here just for validation. Again, you guys, it's all a game of odds, but it's really very reinforcing, and it's very validating to see that Bitcoin is following such perfect technicals, which makes these reads, again, as a trader, that much easier to read. Okay, so get off of Bitcoin. Ultimately, Bitcoin's price action will affect that of the majority of the crypto equity markets, at least general trend direction. Of course, you guys, when you're talking about crypto related equities, especially like RIOT and Mara, the movement you're going to see is going to be multiplied. Okay, so Bitcoin, if Bitcoin's up 6%, it's likely that RIOT and Mara, plays like RIOT and Mara, which are Bitcoin miners, are going to be amplified versions of that general price direction. Okay, so RIOT Mara, I wouldn't be surprised if we open the week tomorrow, especially considering RIOT Mara from a technical perspective have both found pretty solid levels of support. I wouldn't be surprised to see RIOT Mara up like 12 to 15% tomorrow as we open the week. So super exciting potential there. We will, again, cover obviously RIOT Mara like I just said, and then move into the more blockchain focused plays. Ether, the entire cryptocurrency market is looking hot right now. Very, very optimistic. Again, I have a smile on my face just because I'm so confident on so many of these plays that we've been talking about. The past month, as many of you guys know, has been pretty rough, you guys. And again, that's why it's so important to keep your eyes on the prize. If you know you got a good thing going, if you're confident in the fundamentals, if you're confident in the technicals, then the pullbacks that we've been seeing over the course of the past month are buying opportunities. You guys, be a shark in the bloody waters. And that's why I'm super excited for the Waves family, for myself and the entirety of the Waves family, going into this week, because we have been preparing for this again. So ZKIN, ZK International, very, very exciting there. ZKIN looks really promising from both a technical and fundamental perspective. ZKIN up again, closing last week out almost double-digit percentage, 9.85%. Then close the TA out with the space plays. CurrencyWorks. CurrencyWorks is one of the most beautiful charts I've ever seen. So very, very excited, very optimistic in regard to CurrencyWorks. That's probably the single stock, if I was to put a single bet on a single stock in regard to the short to medium term, it would probably be CurrencyWorks, just because the chart looks so good. Again, crypto is looking very strong right now. CurrencyWorks seen a very, very significant correction over the past month or so. All the stars are aligning for all of the plays we're going to be talking about today, but specifically CWRK and OTC small market cap. That's the beauty of small market caps. It takes very little capital inflow to appreciate the individual share price there. So CWRK, I mean, it's textbook as the chart gets. I'm so bullish on CWRK. And then close it out with the Mars mission, the Mars rover. That is alternate systems, or ticker symbol ALYI. Again, ticker symbol, again, OTC stocks. I personally use TD Ameritrade to trade or buy, to invest in, because I'm not really trading these. I'm kind of just accumulating these. Absolute accumulation mode in regard to CurrencyWorks and alternate systems. So little d, again, symbolizes the over-the-counter stocks. So you cannot trade these on Robinhood. I want to make that very clear for any of you who may be new around here. But I use TD Ameritrade personally to trade these both. So I just want to throw that out there. Again, ALYI, corrected very, very significantly, and I'm just so pumped with all the progress from a fundamental perspective that both Currency Works and ALYI are making. If you guys watched my 2 favorite stocks right now video that I posted last week, you would know why I think that. But again, these are the stocks that I'm personally keeping an eye on. These are the stocks that I'm most excited about. There are going to be so many stocks in the market, you guys. I do feel very, very optimistic about the market. If you guys watched yesterday's Waves Weekly, I did talk about how I was going to cover the SPX or the S&P 500. That's how I sum up the general equity markets. SPX setting new all-time highs. I think the majority of the market is going to be extremely strong going into this week. I'm very, very bullish on pretty much all equities, especially considering the dollar is looking pretty weak as well right now. So there is just a lot of technical and fundamental catalysts that lead me to believe that the markets will likely see some green this week. So again, very, very exciting. It's very like I was just saying, you guys, this past month has been a little rough. So I'm excited for both myself, but more so the Waves family going into this week. Let's just get into it. So again, those are the technicals. I'm just so excited about talking about the charts. But a few of the articles we're going to be looking at, kicking it off with CNBC, taxes and inflation will likely be key themes for markets in the week ahead. So we'll quickly read over this again, you guys. Just from a very, very general fundamental perspective, it's important to have at least somewhat of an understanding of what's going on in the ether, because again, the financial market's one big ecosystem. It's like butterfly effects. So we will go over this, just give you guys an idea of kind of what to keep an eye out for as we head into this week from a fundamental perspective. And then we'll quickly go over this article that I really like, titled "Bloomberg Markets Roaring Reopening Trade Threatened with Boom Nearing Peak." So reopening is a very, very real thing, you guys. Again, things are getting rolling. Here in Hawaii, I can't get a resi anywhere. If you're trying to make a resi the day of, places are booked out weeks in advance. And that's what, it's kind of irritating, because I'm trying to make a reservation for a place I really like to eat at, and I feel entitlement because I live here. But it's also awesome to see that tourism is back. People are moving. Like the Roaring 20s are going to be very, very real. Roaring reopening trade. We're going into the Roaring 20s, which makes me very, very happy. And again, the reopening trades, again, you have to play that game theory, you have to play the game theory aspect of the markets. There's so much retail out there. There's so much emotion in the markets right now. So it's very, very important to keep, again, have your finger on the pulse of the fundamentals, of the actual macroeconomic fundamentals, but also just have an idea of how the general market psyche is kind of operating at this point in time. Okay, so we will go over this again, just kind of give you guys an idea of how you should frame your thoughts and how you should trade things. Because if these reopening trades, again, airlines, cruises, hotels, like hotel stocks, just travel and hospitality stocks that have been absolutely popping off, congrats to you guys if you were trading those or if you were long those. If those do start to pull back, if we do see some of that capital outflow from that sector move into plays like crypto, that again are very promising. And as we close out the weekend, it's looking very, very promising. So again, I'm just excited for the week ahead. I'm excited to talk to you guys about some of my thoughts around just the general market environment right now, because it has been a very, very shaky market lately. So yeah, excited to dive in. Before I do, as always, you guys, I will ask you to please give the video a like before you if you do go on to gain value from it today, or if you're invested or bullish on any of the stocks that we're going to be talking about. Subscribe to the channel if you're new around here, want to catch more content like this. And of course, check out the complete portfolio daily newsletter. First link down in the description. That's going to be $15 a month. If you want a complete breakdown of my entire portfolio, call options, put options, stock positions, cryptocurrency positions. I do update that every single trading day during market hours. And along with every update, I do send out a fairly comprehensive newsletter explaining my thoughts, rationalizing my trades, so you guys know when I'm getting in, when I'm getting out of trades, and throwing some charts in there, throwing some analyses in there. Even if I'm not trading, I throw in some charts. I'll let you guys know what my price targets are and my rationale behind why I'm doing what I'm doing. So again, $15 a month, first link down in the description. I will not be recording a video tomorrow. I'm actually going to be off island for the day. But again, daily portfolio or daily newsletter, portfolio group, same thing. I do up. That's my obligation to you guys. Okay, that's my obligation to the Real Wave Sam, is to keep you guys posted with my thoughts. And along with that, I will hop into the Discord as well. Maybe do a live chat tomorrow at some point if I can fit it in the Discord. But in the Discord, I do ultimately hop in there at least every trading day around 2 p.m. Hawaii Standard Time to talk shop with you guys, do live Q&As, just answer questions. So again, you guys, if you're just part of the YouTube family, that's perfectly fine. I appreciate your, again, attention is one of the most valuable assets you can ever own in this life. So I truly do appreciate you guys for just sticking around here. But if you guys do want that like kind of one-on-one connection, the Q&A, and just really dive into the waves, fam, all the links are going to be down in the description. So I appreciate it if you check those out. If not, no worries at all. Again, I appreciate you being here. Okay, so let's dive into Bitcoin. Again, sitting right above 52K right now. Super exciting. So I think you guys will cover Bitcoin. I'll give you guys my take on Bitcoin from a technical perspective. We'll go over these articles, and then we'll just straight up dive into technicals. Okay, so Bitcoin, perfectly to a T, you guys. Again, love to see it bouncing off this line of support. So you can see here a lot of volume. We're seeing a lot of volume, which is really bullish as well. Bitcoin, let's get rid of these. Again, I just you guys know that I just do this for the intro. It just makes it look a little prettier. So Bitcoin, perfectly as I expected. Again, I don't want to brag about this, but again, that's just a testament to how strong technicals are in this current market environment, how much traders and whales and just like big money movers are dictating the direction of this market. So Bitcoin, again, coming down once it broke short-term support right here, this orange line, again, touch point here. Once it broke below this, I was extremely confident that it was very likely from a technical perspective, just objective technical perspective, that we were going to come down to the 47K mark. Again, shout out Discord. I've been calling this for the past at least week or so now, ever since we broke this, that we're ultimately going to come down and test this red line. Again, just baseline of support on the more medium-term uptrend starting at the end of December. This is over the overall uptrend. Okay, so sorry, we were on 4 hours. Forgot how like actually zoomed out this was, but again, this is the absolute line of support for Bitcoin right now. It at some point, I think like a couple of weeks ago, maybe even a month or so ago, when I was kind of short of the market, we were seeing very low volume, especially like from here, like around this area. I was like, maybe we're gonna see that pullback. But again, you guys, in a bull market, in such a parabolic bull market like Bitcoin, in such a very promising bull market like Bitcoin, which I want to make very clear from a long-term perspective, I'm not selling any of my Bitcoin. I'm not trading Bitcoin. I might trade these Bitcoin related stocks, but I'm not trading Bitcoin because I ultimately have that six-figure price target, at least six-figure price target for Bitcoin. So it's all a matter of time. Again, you guys, it's just a matter of investors educating themselves on the space, on what Bitcoin is, on the fundamental principles of Bitcoin that really do make it an extremely valuable asset moving into the future of just digital, like the digital financial infrastructure that we are moving towards. It's just obvious to me that Bitcoin is going to be very successful. Again, Bitcoin is gold 2.0. I do think that Bitcoin ultimately will reach a price target of close to like $400,000 to $500,000 to reach a $10 trillion market cap to consume that of gold. Watch my Bitcoin is gold 2.0 video if you want to hear more rationale behind that. But just to preface my long-term sentiment for Bitcoin, very bullish. But again, technicals are still definitely in place. So we saw Bitcoin come down earlier today, perfectly test the overall line of support on the uptrend beginning back in September, immediately eaten back up, which is exactly what I like to see. Again, touchdown here. Even the 4-hour candle within the span of 4 hours was immediately eaten back up, and we're spiking back up now because traders are like, okay, this is it. We tested support. It's time to rally again. Okay, so again, as far as price targets are concerned, my first price target is going to be to test the previous line of support as new resistance. TA101, all of you guys know that. Previous support will act as new resistance in my mind. So if we hit this just May 1st, again, it might take some time. After a significant correction, you guys, investor sentiment, which is kind of just sentiment is like the same as confidence. So investor confidence will take a little bit of time to reclaim itself. Investors still a little hesitant. Again, as we're like, which is crazy because usually volume and price action is a lot slower during the week. And again, in like China and stuff, it's still trading hours. Like, so that, I guess that makes sense considering I live in Hawaii, like at the very end of the time scale. It makes sense that we're seeing this price action, but I'm very confident that at this point we have triggered a reversal. I guess you can see here that we are still in a technical downtrend, so we will need to clear this. We'll probably see a little bit of resistance around here because we are in this downtrend right now. So I do think we'll see a little bounce off of like the 55.3, 55.4 region. But ultimately, I do, again, you guys, that's why I'm a swing trader. I'm not a day trader. I focus on like overall trend direction, and to me, this is looking like a reversal. We tested overall support, and I do think this is signaling a reversal to the upside. Ultimately, the price targets I would be looking for short to medium term over the course of this week, to be honest, is going to be 60K. So 60K, April 30th. Just again, it's also very important to remember that my price targets are completely dependent on when these trend lines are struck. Okay, so line of resistance, if it comes out, if this happens to be struck on April 30th, would take us to just under $61,000. If we break 61K, especially if we break Bitcoin's all-time high, just if we break $65,000, I think it's very, very likely that we will ultimately be back on our way to that spring rally, to the spring bloom. And just say we hit it. I'm going to do my birthday just because I want to shout out my birthday. I feel like kind of a goof for doing that, but I'll just start doing that. May 19th. That would take us to, if we test the overall line of resistance on the same exact uptrend on this beautiful, beautiful ascending channel, if we hit it on May 19th, that would take us to just under a $93,000 Bitcoin, okay? So maybe it takes a little longer. Maybe we go sideways to get us to a $100,000 Bitcoin. That would take us to about June 6th or June 7th, okay? So going to June, early June, if we want to see that elusive six-figure Bitcoin, that's when I would expect it. But again, you guys, it's all dependent on when these trend lines are hit, okay? So we will talk much more about trend lines, much more about price targets as we move into these crypto-related equities. But first, let's go over some of these fundamental issues, some of these fundamental related articles, just, again, because I read these, I was looking through so many articles, I was like, what? I was trying to vet what I want to talk to you guys about. But these are the two that I felt were probably the most important. And again, it's just important in my opinion personally, and that's what I've really developed. I should say that's a principle that I've developed as a trader over the years, is understanding that you should have an idea of what's going on in the macro. Because even if you're tunnel visioning on a sector, even if you think you have the best idea of what's going on in a sector, which ultimately, if you want to like narrow it down to a way to be successful as a trader, is kind of capitalizing on your strength in a sector. Because if you're super interested in a sector, I was talking to the Discord about this in the Q&A on Friday, or in the live chat on Friday. If you're super interested in a sector, that's ultimately when you're going to educate yourself the most, when you're going to watch it the most. That's why RIOT and Mara, that's why I made so much freaking money off RIOT and Mara, is because I watched those two stocks for so long and I understood how they played out, and I was ready for that pop because I was fundamentally convicted. So again, you guys, it's so important to tunnel vision sometimes on a sector, know it better than every other trade in the market, because that's ultimately what will give you that edge in trading. It's still important to understand what's going on in the macro, because again, butterfly effects, all that good stuff, you guys. So taxes and inflation will be key things for markets in the week ahead. Key points. We're just going to read over the key points straight up here. The last week of April will be extremely busy for the markets, with a third of the S&P 500 reporting earnings, a Federal Reserve meeting, and new spending tax proposals from the White House. Big tech is a highlight of the earnings calendar, with Apple, Microsoft, Amazon, Facebook, and Alphabet all releasing earnings. So if you want to talk about market cap, how much market caps weight the entire stock market, definitely the S&P. This is pretty much 50% of the S&P right here in regard to market cap, okay? So again, you guys, household names, the Kinks, the Mount Rushmores of technology are reporting earnings this week. I think that will be very, very telling. And if they're good, so my thought here is even if these earnings are good, even if they impress on earnings, which Netflix reported earnings last week, I believe, and they were pretty disappointing. And Netflix is the epitome of a COVID, I don't care, of a COVID-related lockdown, like the 2020, like COVID is the epitome. COVID and Zoom, I guess, Peloton maybe, which I'm short Peloton. Peloton and Netflix and Zoom, there we go, are pretty much, in my mind, the epitome of like COVID-related like trades. And the fact that Netflix, I still watch Netflix every night. The fact that Netflix disappointed on earnings, in my opinion, is kind of a preface for what might happen in regard to these more consumer-focused. So again, Apple is a tech company, but like obviously it's a product company, it's a physical goods company. Microsoft, very, very tech. I mean, same, obviously Apple versus Microsoft, Apple versus PC. Amazon is probably on, like, Amazon is, in my mind, no doubt going to crush earnings. Facebook, Alphabet, I don't know how well they're doing. So regardless, because tech has been rallying so much, I do think that they're not going to disappoint on earnings, but I do also believe that they might not impress on earnings to the extent that many investors believe they will, because again, you guys, as far as market cap is concerned, because these have such like $1 trillion market caps, $1 trillion+ market caps in a lot of these guys, That's a lot of capital, and especially when we're talking about these plays we're talking about, Riot and Mar with like sub $5 billion market caps. So you can see we're ALYI with a $5 million market cap. If so, let's fix that. If some of this capital, if even a splash of the capital flows out of the big tech sector into these more penny stocks, and from a boots on the ground perspective, I've had more and more people lately, which is very, very interesting, talk to me about wanting to invest in penny stocks, which is, again, you guys, there's so much retail, there's so much hot capital in the market. So it makes me very, very confident in the fact that if we do see capital flow out of these large sectors, especially from the whales, especially from hedge funds, institutions, etc., into the crypto market, it does not take much capital at all, especially in some of the names we've been talking about for so long, to absolutely skyrocket the share prices of some of these companies. Okay, so very, very exciting there. Let's just move on to here, because I was kind of ranting right now, but again, you guys, I feel this is very important. I've been thinking about this for a long time, and I did want to get these thoughts out to you guys because I do feel like this is important. Again, just understanding what's going on in everything else, because ultimately it will correlate to the crypto sector. Okay, so roaring reopening trade threatened with boom nearing peak. Time to shift quality in unusually fast cycle sheets. Goldman expects U.S. economic growth to peak this quarter. In a stimulus-crazed economy, everything goes faster. The recovery came quicker than forecast. The rally in reopening stocks was dizzying, and now the come down may be upon markets sooner than anyone thought to. Stocks that soared are starting to give gains back, and fits starts. Peloton! The small cap Russell 2000 index at one point up 135% from the pandemic bottom is underperforming the NASDAQ 100 by roughly 4 percentage points this month, after largely dominating since the vaccine breakthroughs in November. Cyclical sectors such as financials and energy have trailed as technology powered ahead in the past month. Morgan Stanley is warning that the economic cycle is going to be, and I quote, much hotter and much faster. That's everything in the market, you guys. That's what I've been saying. Stay on your toes. There's so much hot capital. Everything is moving fast, okay? So that's why you got to stay on your toes, be ready for whatever is to come. With consensus building that growth is going to peak this quarter, the reopening trade that has powered rallies in everything from cruise operators to casinos may be peaking with it. So again, you guys, boots on the ground. Hawaii, popping right now. I imagine if you live in a tourism-focused economy, you're seeing tourists, especially in the continental, especially in the U.S., because you don't need the passports. International boundaries are still a little sketchy. But that's why it's just from a pure boots on the ground perspective, I feel like we are kind of peaking right now in terms of at least the trades. Again, a lot of times in the stock market, people are betting on the future. That's what we've seen. Zoom, Peloton, again, all the lockdown trades that we're kind of talking about right now, the same thing, the same principles apply to these reopening trades, okay? So investors are betting on future potential. That's how, not only options, I mean, options are just like the future potential, but even at this point in time, like stocks are trading with future potential, okay? So important to keep in mind, quote, to close out the articles, and we'll dive into all the technicals, it's time for investors to start moving out many of the strategies, many of the sectors that work in the early cycle right after a recession period into things that work better when things get a little bit more mid-cycle. Andrew Sheets, chief cross-asset strategist at Morgan Stanley, said in a Bloomberg TV interview. Okay, you guys, so again, play the game theory here. Play like if these like reopening trades are slowing down, if tech slows down. Again, I do think big tech, which again, like the FANG stocks that consume so like the majority, like 30%, I think, or something like that, something crazy, like 20-30% of the S&P 500, if you're weighting it by market cap, if they don't absolutely impress, which I personally don't think they will, I think they're going to be great, but I don't think they're going to be at the level that investors will be like, okay, like this is where I want to place my money. And if capital does flow out of those sectors into more promising, into more lucrative, potentially lucrative sectors like crypto that have proven themselves to be picking up steam and have corrected, which makes them that much more appealing than individual stocks and sectors that have been overextended over the past month. I think these are all these stars are aligning from both, again, a fundamental and technical perspective for the cryptocurrency sector. So let's dive into Riot and Mar again. Like, I'm sorry, I'm kind of stretching this out. I'm actually really enjoying talking to you guys about this, but Riot and Mar. So Riot, at the very least, did find almost bounced perfectly off resistance, but again, you guys, this kind of comes down to game theory. Like maybe Riot comes down a little bit more prior to going up, but I think that this is, I'm seeing a reversal here. If Bitcoin is going up, if Bitcoin makes its way ultimately to like nears, like closes in on those 6 figures, on that 6-figure price target, then I ultimately believe Riot will easily close in on that 3-digit price target. So as far as first price targets, I do think it's extremely likely that Riot will, I'm actually going to discount this completely, because I think that Riot could very well rally up to test the previous line of support and use it as new resistance. Again, TA 101 right here. Again, once Riot broke this, I was very, very confident that, unfortunately, Riot was going to come down significantly more to test overall support. But Riot, so I mean, if it does do this, which I think is very, very likely, again, because the markets are day by day proving themselves to weight themselves more towards technicals. Obviously, fundamentals will ultimately catalyze general direction of the trend, but technicals are still very in play. April 30th, by the end of the month, my price target for Riot is going to be at least 54, like 53, 54 bucks. We'll call it just 50 bucks, which is a very, very significant percentage increase considering we're just under like $39 right now. Okay, so very, very bullish on Riot going forward. Again, especially if Bitcoin continues. It is very, very highly dependent, very highly dependent on whether Bitcoin continues to rally or not. Bitcoin, even as we're just going through this video, is rallying. So I'm very, very bullish that the Bitcoin rally is going to continue. The fundamentals are still there. Bitcoin, the most valuable, absolutely scarce asset on the planet at that scale, is looking good. And again, the more people understand the fundamental values of Bitcoin, the more they're going to want a piece of it, okay? Fun fact that I haven't said in a while, but I love this, probably my single favorite fact, elevator pitch style. There's not enough Bitcoin in the world for every millionaire on the planet to own one. So there's 21 million Bitcoin that will ever be in circulation. At the moment, I think there's like 18.5, 19 million Bitcoin in circulation at this moment because of the halving cycles, because miners are paid in Bitcoin to validate the blockchain. But imagine a few million of those are lost. I think there's going to be a max of like 18 million Bitcoin ever in circulation ever. And there's, I believe, 70 plus million millionaires on the planet. Okay, so again, that's human nature, is to want what you can't have. And I'm very fortunate to be at a place where I own not just one, but a few Bitcoin. Okay, so feels good, you guys. And again, I'm just so fundamentally convicted. I've been in the space for so long, and it's just exciting to see. Especially after a correction, things coming back to fruition. Okay, so that is Riot. Let's move on to Marathon Digital. Mara is finding a base. Mara perfectly bounced. That's like what this is exactly what I love to see, you guys. And this speaks to the power of technicals. Is Mara perfectly bounced off the initial high of this rally? I guess not the initial high. Worst case scenario was this purple line. I believe I said that last week. Worst case scenario for Mara, if Bitcoin were to tank, if Bitcoin were to go like 40K, like maybe even below 40K, this would be my price target, like 15 bucks was my price target. But because I do believe Bitcoin's reversing, as I just made very, very clear for the past like 20 minutes, I think Mara is going to reverse. So Mara did test beautifully this high of the current rally it's on, and similar to using previous support, new resistance, previous resistance, new support, TA 101. When you see a rally like this, is very, very common to see the initial high of the current rally used as a floor, used as a line of support. So perfectly bounced off this. I mean, that is textbook technicals. And as far as short-term price targets go, I do believe Mara will bounce up extremely quickly to either test, I mean, same theory as Riot right here. So test this very, very strong line of support. So I do definitely think we're going to see some resistance April 30th around like the $37, $38 level. Break through that. My next price target is going to be to test the line of resistance on the current short-term downtrend since Mara's high in early April at about $58. That would take us to just say like April 30th, if that, because this can happen very, very fast, you guys. Again, Mara's market cap right now, I believe, is a little larger than Riot. So Mara is at like a $3.2 billion market cap. That's so small. That's so small. And again, as we get into CWRK and ALYI, that it becomes very, very apparent how actually small that is. But very exciting potential here. I do think Mara will come up by May 3rd to at least 43, 44 bucks. If we can break this line of resistance on the short-term downtrend, that will signal a technical reversal. And I do think ultimately we're going to be on our way to test the overall line of resistance that I've been expecting to happen for so long now. If that happens on my birthday, let's do my birthday. So May 19th, that would take us to just under $100 Mara. And again, it wouldn't surprise me at all because these companies, Mara has so much Bitcoin on their balance sheet. If Bitcoin's appreciating, it only makes sense that Mara is appreciating as well. Okay, so let's move on to ZK International, or ZKIN. ZKIN, is a beautiful chart. Broke out of the short-term downtrend. Very, very significant correction here. Again, higher highs and higher lows on the overall uptrend right here. High, low, higher low. We established that here. And it makes sense to me that ZKIN, especially considering the crypto sector is looking so strong right now, that we see ZKIN ultimately come up to like 18 bucks. Okay, so when this happens, May 19th, that's May 19th, whatever. That would take us to about an $18 ZKIN. Again, you guys, it will take a little bit of time. Nothing goes straight up or straight down. We know they can, so maybe that does happen, but conservatively, I think that over the course of the next few weeks to a month, we could easily see a $15+ ZKIN. Okay, so ZKIN, just very, very excited about that. Shout out to the portfolio group, Discord group. Was very, very prepped for this movement on Friday, so excited to see what happens if ZKIN. Let's close that with Currency Works and alternate systems. So Currency Works probably Ether looking good too, as I accidentally scrolled down. We'll just go right there. So I mean, CWRK, this is like the most textbook. This is one of the most textbook charts I've ever seen. CWRK perfectly bouncing off of overall support. CWRK with a market cap of, currently with a market cap of $100 million on the dot, you guys. Like working in the NFT space, they are partnering. They're doing such cool things in the space, making very, very fundamental, like tangible progress. I don't know if I phrased that correctly. I'm sorry if I didn't. But CWRK looking super strong on the charts. Like, you can't, anyone who understands charts at all would not be able to look at this chart and not be extremely bullish. So I'm very bullish on CWRK. Ultimate price target for CWRK. Let's just extend it. Okay, May 19th is going to be $4.80. So again, $5 is going to be a general price target for CWRK. A lot of investors are actually going to be looking at this line right here, which will draw pretty much the exact same line, but using this line right here, because a lot of traders, especially if we break through this area, especially if we break $5, they are going to be looking at this line. So let's just say by the end of May, by June 1st, if CWRK does test the overall line of resistance on the overall uptrend, that would take us to $6. We're currently sitting at $1.93. CWRK closed out last week on the strongest note ever, which I love to see, because we were already made a bag on Friday. Love it. So CWRK $6, that's over a 3x from here. And again, you guys, the Waves family, you know how we roll. That's what we're looking for. I'm not looking for a 10, 20. I mean, even a 50% return, I'm not happy with that. I want to spot trends early. I want to make the wave. We're not riding the waves, you guys. We're making the waves, and that's what CWRK and ALYI are for me personally. So, price target for the summer for CWRK is going to be $6. ALYI, let's see what happens here. So ALYI seeing a beautiful day on Friday, breaking out of short-term resistance, breaking out of resistance, I'm sorry, on the short-term downtrend right here, this orange line. And I do think that the first trend line that's going to come into play is this previous ascending channel that once ALYI broke under, used it as resistance. Very, very obvious trend line in play. And because ALYI, I just want to preface the ALYI statement, or the ALYI analysis with this. ALYI has a $6 million market cap. CWRK, which is a tiny company, is almost 20 times larger than ALYI. It's crazy that ALYI has a $6 million market cap, you guys. It's like, this trade, as many of you know, is the Mars mission. I think ALYI has the potential to 200x. That's my ultimate price target for ALYI is $10. A $10 share of ALYI, considering we're currently just above 5 cents, is going to be a $1 billion market cap. ALYI, Alternate Systems, is working on becoming the Harley-Davidson of electric motorcycles, targeting the emerging market of sub-Saharan Africa, wanting to make the Uber of like motorcycles in Africa. The vision is of the best I've ever seen, okay? And we all know for a fact that in this market environment, in 2021, with all the IPOs, with all the SPACs, vision is so important, and the mission is so important. The story stocks, fundamentals obviously matter. And I wouldn't be saying this, I wouldn't be bullish on ALYI if they weren't making consistently good progress as a company. ALYI, every week they release the motorcycle, they got the physical product, they're releasing news about scaling their operations, actually doing things. And that's what I'd love to see. I would love to see them do better at marketing, like way better at marketing, because their marketing is absolutely trash in all honesty. But ALYI is making progress as a trader. Again, you guys, I built my career. I built the majority of my net worth, of my wealth, off capitalizing on bubbles, spotting a trend early, and just riding the wave, not trading it. I don't day trade. I've lost. When I day trade, I lose. That's why I do the research. I spot a trend early. I know when I got a good thing, and you know, you just keep those hands strong. and then ultimately it will pay off. And that's how I could not feel more. I've never felt more conviction about a trade in my life. And I've felt very strongly about trades over the course of my career. I've never felt more confident about the fact that I can just buy a bag of this stock, and at some point in time, it's going to make me very, very rich. So, again, you guys, always do your own due diligence. This is just my opinion, and it makes me very, very happy. Shout out to all you guys. Shout out to the whales. Shout out to the ALYI whales. You guys know who you are. It's just a matter of time. So, ALYI, again, technicals, because the market cap's so small, I don't really put much weight on technicals. We just got to see more volume. We got to see better marketing from the team. And again, that's what I'm doing my best to do, is just kind of put this on people's radar, because the opportunity here is so massive. So come up here, maybe 10 cents. Once we break 10 cents, I think we're pretty much back off to the races, especially if we break this area by mid-May. If we break like 15 cents, I'm just going to say if we break 20 cents to eclipse ALYI's yearly high of around 20 cents, if we break 20 cents, we're off to the races, you guys. You know that May 19th, if all goes as good as it possibly can. And May 19th is a few weeks out now, so this is a lot of time, especially for a small, again, if any significant amount of capital, you get $6 million is nothing. Nothing at all in regards to the financial market. So if we do see any significant amount of capital, any institution have any semblance of interest at all in ALYI, it can easily shoot the sky. It can skyrocket the share price up to at least $1. So $1, May 19th, that is where this trend line comes into play. I know I've been talking about my goofy the birthday price targets this whole time, but that is where this line of resistance on the overall uptrend would end up on May 19th, is at exactly $1. So that would be super funny. That would play out perfectly if on my birthday we see that $1 ALYI. I think if we break $1, you guys, that's when volume comes in. That's when people get interested. That's when people understand what ALYI is doing as a company and understand how freaking sick the concept is, how sick the vision is, and that's when ALYI gets to $10, at least $1 billion valuation, which ultimately brings ALYI stock to $10 per share. So we'll close it out there, you guys. That was a fun one. I'm sorry, I'm chilling super hard right now. I just want to talk to you guys in this one. So I'm sorry if I talked to you guys' ears off. If you're still here, you're absolutely a real one, and I appreciate you a lot. And please let me know down below in the comments. Throw 100 emoji if you're still here, okay? And I'll definitely heart that and reply to you, okay? So regardless, if you don't want to do that, just comment down below what your favorite play here is, what you're bullish about going into this trading week. And again, you guys, cheers to the week ahead. So I do want to make it very clear as well that I will not be here. I said this in the beginning, but this has been a long video, but I'm not going to be here tomorrow. I will, however, be doing a Discord live tomorrow. I'm going to be doing the newsletter as always. So I'll catch you guys next time. I'll catch you guys in a couple days. Until then, always remember, take action, make waves. Peace.